serious? All right, guys. State of the Cowboys address. Like this video immediately. It's gonna help out the channel. Let's get into this. Here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're gonna do a state of the Dallas Cowboys heading into Week 6. All right, and a subscriber Q&A. So let's get right into this. It's serious. Cowboy time. We're in it. We're in it to win it. All right. There's no quit in the fans. All right. There's no quit in us, but we do want to see some success. All right. It's time for the Cowboys to wake up. They're in some kind of funk, and we're gonna talk about it real quick. All right. So first, I ran a poll here just the other day. All right, and the question was this. We got a lot of votes. What will the Cowboys record be at the bye week? Okay, so we have the Jets coming up this weekend, and then the Eagles, and then the bye week. All right, 63% of the people said we're going to be 5-2. That's very optimistic. It's possible. All right, 27% said we're going to be 4-3. That's also possible, and just 10% think that we'll lose the next 2 games and we'll be 3-4. So. No, a small group of people think that we will, choke it up. 10% of you guys think that we'll choke it up, lose the next 2 games. All right. So very interesting how this breaks down. All right. For me, the Jets game, it's another must win, but this is the must win of must wins early on because I feel that if you lose this game on the road against Sam Darnold, who has been out this whole time because of mono. If he comes in here, if he comes to this game and beats you, that's it. That's just all she wrote, as I say. The party's over. Turn out the lights, whatever you want to call it. That'll be it, guys. Because it will be a close game. All right, it will be a close game. Le'Veon Bell. Okay. The strategy for teams that have had success against the Cowboys have had a good running game and dink and dunking. All right, that's really been how. If you looked at all of the losses that we've had, it's all been that. All right, dinking and dunking. The Packers, I think the receivers only had like 4 catches, and then the tight ends and running backs had everything else. All right, the Saints. Same thing, dinking and dunking down the field. Couldn't stop them. Yards after the catch killed us with the running backs. Screens, whatever you want to call it. So the blueprint's there, and they're putting it to the Cowboys. We want to see if you can stop our dink and dunking. All right. And this is a league of inches. If dinking and dunking is what it takes to win, that's what they're gonna do. All right, nobody cares. You're not getting points, fashion points or whatever you want to call it. So if that's what it takes to win, that's what a lot of teams around the league are starting to do. Not so much the deep passing attacks now. Now it's about, can you stop our dinking and dunking? And some teams are executing it very well. The Jets, they will pose a problem because they have Le'Veon Bell, very shifty, very patient. The Jets' offensive line may not be the best, but you do have a back who's patient and can break loose and bust one, home run hitter, can catch it out of the backfield. There's going to be another type of Alvin Kamara type of situation. But you got to win this game. You cannot lose this game, all right? So just a quick hit on that. All right, we'll do another video here as we get closer to the week, previewing that game. So I asked you guys earlier today, to shoot me over some questions about the team, and I got a couple here that I'm gonna go through. And I did do a last call here on Twitter, so I don't know if I'll get any on that, but I'll do the ones here that you guys submitted on YouTube, and I think I can go through these. All right, here we go. First one here, Talmega Orston. How many field goals does Brett Maher have to miss to get cut? Greetings from a Cowboys fan from Germany. All right, Tomega, thank you. Awesome that we have fans over there in Germany watching the Cowboys and that follow the channel. Thank you very much, sir. Do appreciate it. Um, to answer your question, I think it's the Cowboys are just very stubborn. They will stick with their veteran until the very bitter end. So, he may miss another field goal here in this next game. It may take another game, or it may be at the bye week. Is what I have a feeling the Cowboys are going to do. Cowboys usually at the bye week, that's when they make tweaks, whether it's firing an offensive line coach and bringing in Mark Colombo, or canning Scott Linehan, or whatever it is. Just little tweaks here and there. Obviously they didn't can him there at the bye week, but this is when they do these little tweaks. So I don't know. I think it'll probably take a couple of more. Okay, I don't know why they're sticking with him. He sucks. All right, and I said this. Jeff Heath could have made that field goal that he choked on in that game. And not that it wouldn't matter. We should never have been in that position. We cannot be in a position where the game's going to come down to a field goal. We'll lose. Maher sucks. All right. Let's go to the next question. This one comes from Izzy Prado. Why did they play Anthony Brown over Jordan Lewis? More of the same thing that I just said here. A stubbornness by the staff, Chris Richard. And, a lot of us YouTubers are starting to shine the light more on Chris Richard. I kind of called it here earlier, in some of in my other video, in my press conference video. Does he need to get stripped of the play calling? All right, not yet, obviously, and I don't think that'll happen. I really don't think that'll happen. But you're starting to see some criticism, and well deserved, because the defense is not doing anything. He hasn't improved this significantly since he has arrived here. All right, and remember the Seahawks did fire him. They didn't bring him back. So, Pete Carroll, he runs a pretty tight ship there for whatever reason. They didn't want him there anymore. All right, so we'll see, man. But why Anthony Brown over Jordan Lewis? I don't know, and I think it just comes down to that. This whole thing about measurements and all this other crap, I think it's a little bit too much now, because now it's getting in the way of having a better player out there. All right, Jordan Lewis is a better corner than Anthony Brown. He's very feisty. He makes tackles. He's not afraid of contact. Like a lot of, I hate to say it, but some of our corners, they don't want the contact. Jordan Lewis does. He wants to hit the crap out of you. He wants to jump a route and get an interception. He makes plays. All right, so they need to reevaluate that right there. That's killing them. All right. That's killing them. This one comes from Buddy Johnson. Joe Rod, could you see Jason Garrett going to Washington if our Cowboys fire him if he doesn't make it past the first round this season? Go Cowboys. Long-time subscriber Buddy Johnson. I appreciate the question, man, and it's a good one. All right, and this a lot of these questions are good. Some of them are fun. So this one here, it's an interesting one because you're kind of projecting and looking ahead, right? And if you're being real, just being real, the Cowboys have always been a one and done usually. Garrett does not get these guys going for the playoffs. I don't know what it is. But in this scenario, if he were to in fact not get extended, would he go to the Redskins? I would say it's definitely a possibility. A lot of Cowboys have done this. Players and coaches have gone to DC. It's probably Dan Snyder will throw some money. He's gonna. I mean, supposedly they want Mike Tomlin. All right, but he's still under contract with the Steelers, so they need to be careful there with tampering. Hopefully, they get in trouble for tampering. I don't know, but yeah. Could he go there? Definitely he could go there. He does have a winning record. And no matter how this ends, guys, the realistic thing here is Jerry Jones has a very strong connection with Jason Garrett. So he will not fire him during the season. That's not going to happen. Even if this thing goes south, all the way south, he's going to let him finish out the year. All right. Just to give him that solid, I guess you could say. All right. But could he go to Washington? He definitely could. But we've all seen what happens when people go there. It's a hard place to get wins, and the talent there is not that good. Next question. I'm not sure how to say this one, but Tanazi Sabet. If we lose to the Jets, should Jason Garrett be fired? I like that. Jason Garrett. Should he be? He should be, but he won't be. And just for what I just talked about there, Jerry Jones is going to be loyal to Jason Garrett on this. All right, he's not going to do him how he did at Wade Phillips. This team could go 3-13. And he won't fire him. He just won't extend them. He just won't give him the extension. That's really what we're talking about here. We're all thinking it's Super Bowl or bust. And, man, we have to hope that that's what it is, because we cannot go into a decade. All right? We're in 9 years of Jason Garrett. 9 years. All right? Cowboys extend him a decade of mediocrity and just not being able to get it done. I don't want that. I don't. It's insane. It's the definition of insane, okay? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting, a different result, but you're getting the same result. That's what insanity is, right? So it's time to change it up. If he doesn't get it done this year, you got to change it up. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Next question. Ernesto James. Should we trade Dak for a first-round pick? Most likely at the end of the year. All right. Who would give a first-round pick for Dak Prescott? Is there a team out there? That's the big thing about this is, you gotta find a partner. You gotta find a dance partner to make that trade. And obviously there's gonna be teams out there that will want him. And who knows? Who knows? Like what if Garrett went somewhere else? What if he would want Dak Prescott, and would they trade a pick to get him? It could be very interesting. This offseason, I mean, we're looking way ahead of ourselves, and obviously this is just, looking way ahead of ourselves and that kind of thing. But you never know what could happen. But I really don't see that many teams being interested. He does, his stats, would suggest that he should be in that conversation with a lot of these quarterbacks that are getting paid in the 30s and $35 million range, right? But that last game with the Packers, it doesn't give you confidence in that. So it is one very ugly game. If he continues to stack games like that, then you do have to reevaluate. All right, you really do. And I think that's what the Cowboys are going to do at the end of the day. I think. I'll be surprised if something happens during the bye week. They might just franchise tag him. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. Sal Limon. Our secondary are weak. Byron Jones, Jeff Heath, and Cheeto Awuzie need to go. They need to go. All of them. The whole secondary needs to go. I appreciate the question, Sal. Definitely, Cheeto has definitely had an off season. It's not even a sophomore slump because he's not in the second year anymore. He's a third-year player. It's almost like he has that Batman suit where remember where Batman had that suit and the neck wouldn't turn. It's almost like that, dude. Like Cheeto, turn your head around and make a play, dude. He's getting beat real ugly on some of these plays, man. Byron Jones, I like Byron Jones. For me, I think and I've been a big critic. You guys know that, especially when he was at the safety position. I hated him at safety. But at cornerback, I like him at cornerback. I think he did a good job last year. And he's been doing a good job this year for the most part. He's just not physical. He's not going to make the tackle. He will avoid the contact. I mean, he will make some tackles here and there, but business decision city. All right. Jeff Heath. Cowboys love him. He's probably not going anywhere. But at some point, you gotta upgrade. They gotta upgrade the defense. You know, they're trying to go cheap. They're going cheap, and it's starting to bite them in the ass. All right, it really is. That whole defensive line is nothing but 1 year and 2 year deal players. Hyder, Woods, Covington. It's just a bunch of 1 year guys, man. It's like, okay, you got to start throwing something in there. All right, and I think. Free agency, they got a little stung with that free agency that with that one defensive tackle they got from the Eagles that 1 year. I think that kind of bit them a little bit in the butt there. So that kind of shied them away from giving big deals. But they're going to have to reevaluate that. Definitely they need to throw some resources at defensive tackle and that defensive line. Cannot do this 1 year, 2 year clearance deal players. It's just, they're just players, man. I hate to say it, but they're just players. Am I right? Let's go to the next question. Cowboys number 1. Do we get rid of Tavon Austin and bring back Des Bryant? They brought back Jason Witten. This is a good question. All right. Tavon Austin sucks. I've been saying it. Some people don't agree, and some people continue to like the speed. But they're not using him in that way. He's not going down, burning people down sidelines. He's their gadget player. All right, and for me, he's impeding Tony Pollard's plays. I think those plays would be better to go to him. He's got better balance and more. He'll break tackles. Austin, man, I just hate that. I hate that player. I really. Des Bryant, you know, the Cowboys won't bring him back. But for me, ask me personally, I would take Des Bryant over Tavon Austin like that. I would. But the Cowboys aren't going to do that. They did bring back Jason Witten, but Des Bryant, I think it's a little bit of a different story. You know, there was we don't know what happened behind the scenes. There was a lot of criticism from the coaches, Sean Lee, the Snake, and all that storyline. I mean, there's a lot there to unpackage, so I don't think that'll happen. Next question. Why didn't we get it? This comes from Bill Bates. Why didn't we get at least 2 defensive tackles in the offseason? Well, they did get Covington. He was a free agent, and but yeah, and they did get Tristan Hill. So they kind of did get 2 defensive tackles, but Covington is another one of these bargain bin players, you know, from the Texans. Didn't do much, you know, run stuffer, whatever they're trying to sell you on it. And these are rotational players. Now you're almost playing with backup players. All right, let's be real about it. You're almost playing with backup players. We got to get better there, man. The defensive philosophy, I think, really needs to be. If you want to talk about the purge squad, we need to purge out the defensive philosophy. That's killing us. We all want the space eater, the guy that is an immovable object, like a snack. Harrison, I've always liked that guy. He goes in there, you can't move him, and you got to run around him. All right, and that affects the running game. It affects the running, and we don't have that. Antoine Woods, he's not that either. He's not a big body. He's not a snack. They gotta get somebody in there. I'm gonna say the last big type of player that we had there, defensive tackle, might have been Ratliff. All right, and that was more in the 3-4. I think he was more of a nose tackle. He would have done really well. Jason Hatcher too, but he wasn't really a space eater. He was just really athletic. Right, had a lot of speed, but they got to do something there. This one comes from Ruben Gomez. Do we make a trade at the bye if we are 3-3? All right. At the bye week, we'll either be 4-3 or 3-4 or 5-2. So, but let's just say, will we make a trade for a defensive tackle at the bye week? This is a good question because it depends on the record. I think if you're 4-3 or 5-2, I think it can make some sense because then your season might go a little bit better. There are players out there. I would love to have somebody like Eddie Goldman, Jernigan. I love Florida State defensive tackles, Alabama defensive tackles. Those are factories for defensive tackles. Florida State, Alabama. All right. I don't know if they'll make a trade for somebody like that, but if they do, you could probably pull something off for a 3rd or 4th round pick. It won't cost that much. So, but you want to get somebody that has some youth, somebody that makes plays. Not one of these rotational 1-year guys, man. If they make a trade for somebody, it's gonna be someone who's gonna impact and upgrade that defensive line, significantly. All right, I don't want to see a trade for some mid-tier, guy like a 5th round pick for some dude nobody's even heard of. All right, I don't want to see that. All right. Next question, Tom Wainwright. You win games by running the ball and keeping your defenses fresh and running time off the clock. Why are we not doing this? All right. I think the game really dictates this, right? If the Cowboys fall behind, you kind of have to abandon the running game and you have to start throwing it. All right. When Dak Prescott has over, I don't know, if he has over 38 pass attempts and gets into the 40s, something's not right. You either fell behind, they stuffed the running game, and now you're just throwing it, or something like that. So that's what's happening here with the Cowboys. They do want to run first, but sometimes the game plan gets blown up, and you've seen it. And in the games that they've lost, you've seen some of this happen where they weren't able to do what they wanted to do. They weren't dictating the game; the other team was dictating it. All right, the Saints, they were controlling the clock. We didn't even get the chance to have a legitimate, drive there at the end because the Saints were dictating that game with their game plan. We just took it on the chin. All right. Same with the Packers, 31-3. I mean, they whipped their ass. It wasn't as close as it seemed, man. We whipped their ass. I mean, they whipped our ass, 31-3. And then they controlled the game. All right, so it would be nice to be able to drain the clock with the running game, and they'll do that with teams that they're able to beat. Like they can do that with the Giants. They beat them in that game 1. Hopefully they can do this with the Jets. You would expect them to beat the Jets, and with that style, but we'll see. All right. Let's check Twitter here. See if we have any final questions. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Austin LaBelle, Dem Cowboys 27 on Twitter. With how bad our defense has looked, where do you see most of the issues at? It's hard to say. Linebacker for me, since our D-line can't keep them clean. So for me, it's either D-line or secondary, since we can't get an interception to save our lives. Okay, that's a good question. I'm going to say defensive line, all right, because they did do that one draft class where they drafted a lot of your secondary players. X Woods, Jordan Lewis, Cheeto Wuze. They were all from the same draft class. So they went heavy there. You may need to get another cornerback in this draft, most likely, because Anthony Brown, he's going to leave. They're not going to bring him back. Or would they? Who knows, man. This team, they do some weird crap sometimes, but defensive line is where it's at, man. And like I said in some of the other questions here, that D-line has been neglected. You could say neglected. I mean, a lot of our draft capital has gone into the offensive side, and they've been supplementing low-level, mid-level free agents for the defense, the defensive line in particular. 1 year and 2 year deal. Kerry Hyder, Covington, Ross, but he's on IR. Just, you know, these types of players. All right. Even Robert Quinn's on a 1 year deal. So, for me, it's defensive line all the way. Defensive tackle. You got to get in the face of the quarterback, and our guys are not doing it. All right, they're not doing it. So, very, very good question. What was the other point here that you had? It was good. Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's the defensive line. You know, you're not forcing errant passes because you're not getting enough pressure. All right, so defensive line, and I mean, and they got to get this crap out of their system about wait. I don't know if they're still hoping that Randy Gregory will be something for them. It's over. It's over. He's not even coming back this season. All right. So time to move on, man. Time to move on. But man, I really do appreciate the questions. This video went kind of long, but make sure you like this video. It helps out the channel immensely. Great questions. State of the Cowboys, very good questions. Continue to like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.